That's the problem with the 599. You marvel at its abilities and its brilliance, but it never makes you laugh. Weirdly, for a real giggle, you must turn to the French. It's funny. The Swedes can make a supercar. The Germans can make a supercar. The British can make a supercar. And the Italians make nothing but. But the French have never really pulled it off. Oh, they've won the Formula One World Championship, and in rallying they're often king of the hill. But when it comes to putting that technical know-how on the road, they're hopeless. Sure, they know about design and they know about speed, and I'm told they know about passion as well. But they don't seem to be able to bring it all together. I mean, their best ever mid-engine car was a Clio. This Citroën C6 is currently the most expensive car made by the French. If you drive it fast, the power steering just gives up the ghost completely. Just goes all solid on you. And you can actually hear it saying, "What are you doing going at this speed, you idiotic English tap? Don't be an idiot Englisher. Go back to eating your bacon sandwiches with your HP sauce. No, do this. I'm going to have a crash and that will hurt me more than it will hurt you. Now stop it. Don't do that." Oh, it really did lock then. I'm not a supercar. I am a big soft Citroën. It's right, it really isn't a supercar. In fact, when it comes to supercars, the French really only made two. One was the Venturi, and it was rubbish. And the other was this, the Renault A610. It was the latest in a long line of Alpine cars, and the last. And it's not hard to see why. It is a very good-looking car, if you have cataracts. And there's more. The steering lock is jamming on as I'm driving, so I can only go right. I've gone in the hedge here. £8,250 is what I gave somebody for this car. Why am I going E-or in my head? Anyway, the thing is, £8,250 is almost exactly what you have to pay these days for sort of the best of the green machines. Or a supercar. Just not this one. Yes, it may cost about the same as a G-Wiz, but there's a very good reason for that. It's a cheese-eating surrender monkey. If I wanted a lovely lunch, I would ring up a Frenchman. If, however, I wanted a lovely supercar, I'd ring my mother, my dog, my wife's horse, anyone other than a Frenchman. It may have a turbocharged 3-litre Renault engine, but it only produces 250 brake horsepower. And that's not enough. 250 brake horsepower might work in a motorised pencil sharpener or a table, but not in an out-and-out speed machine. The A610 would go from 0 to 60 in 5.7 seconds, about the same time as it takes to read a medium-sized book. Flat out, no one really knows. No one had the patience to find out. Either that, or everyone was too scared that the steering might lock on again and they'd spear off into a field. Then there was the positioning of the engine. The company's founder looked at how Porsche had put it in the back, behind the rear axle, and thought, that's wrong. I'll do that. This made for some interesting handling characteristics, which become obvious when you try to take a corner. Even when it's dry, like now, it's still no better, because as you go into a corner, you've got grip, grip, grip. You're always thinking, yes, but in a minute, that turbo's going to cut in. 250 brake horsepower, all of that going to the back wheels, then I'll have no grip. And it's just so unprogressive, the way it slides, it's nigh on impossible to control. Whoa! Oh my God! So there we are. It may well be a supercar, but sure as hell isn't a super car. That hurt, actually. This car then is bite the back of your hand brilliant. Not just because of what it can do, but because it can do those things for year after year. And because it meets drive-by noise and emission regulations. And because it can be driven legally by anyone with a driving license. It is even greater than the sum of its parts. And that, trust me on this, is saying something. What's more, this, the greatest supercar of them all, is built in a town called Molsheim, which means it's French. Goodbye.